Well, boys, only 2 points separate the top three teams right now in the Premier League. It's getting tight. This is Red Card Radio. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whenever you're listening from. Thanks for tuning in. Red Card Radio is a weekly look at the Premier League from three friends who support different clubs. My name is James. I support Arsenal. With me tonight, that is Brad over there. He supports Chelsea. Down below, that's Sean. He supports Tottenham. Gentlemen, how are you guys doing? What's going on?
Pretty hype again.
Yeah?
Pretty hype again, huh?
Not hype enough to get the jerseys out the box yet. We'll see what happens this weekend.
Have you packed the jerseys in the box?
The jerseys are packed. The jerseys are hung up in a part of the closet that is difficult for me to reach.
Oh, wow.
I don't have a box.
You pulled a James.
I did. I said that I was doing that like 2 or 3 weeks ago.
I didn't know. I missed it.
Oh, I did say that when I was very, very frustrated.
That's a drastic step to take.
I know.
I can't remember. Was it the
first year of the pod you did it, I think.
No,
or
it was
right before the pod.
I think it was the year before the podcast I did that.
Yeah.
This is super unnecessary.
And way in the weeds.
Way in the weeds. All right. What are we doing tonight? What is the point? All right, let me look at the Google document. Match week 25. We're reviewing the results. We're talking about the football that was played, not James's emotional state. So we will be breaking down match week 25. We're going to look at a couple of these results. One particularly spicy one for Manchester that we are going to have to go over. But before we get into all of that, before we get too deep into this podcast, if you could hit that subscribe button, ring the sub notification bell if you're on YouTube, if you're on one of the podcast sites, follow, rate, and review. And as always, if you could share this episode with a friend, put it on your social media, encourage a friend to listen to it. All those things really do help us out. Drop a comment down below for the YouTube algorithm if you're on YouTube. Those things all help us out tremendously. But really, I think, and Sean, you might, I don't know if you agree with this characterization, but the biggest result and the most shocking result of the weekend, I think, happened in the same game. And that was the Manchester City-Chelsea game.
Oh, is that where we're starting?
I think we have to. I think that's the biggest result of the weekend, and I say that as an Arsenal fan because it was a tremendously good result for Arsenal. But Chelsea go away to the Etihad and secure a point. They steal a point off of City. City dropped 2 points. It's a draw. Brad, what do you make of that?
I understand why you said Chelsea stole 2 points, but I don't think so. I think we left 2 points on the table.
Tell me more, Brad.
I mean, Petrovic was having a heck of a day in goal. A deflection gets by him, giving City the draw. Yes, City were constantly on the ball, but City are always constantly on the ball. And they weren't as flowy as they normally are, right? Like they were hitting crosses into the middle, trying to hit Haaland's forehead. And that's probably Haaland's weakest part of the game. We also had a couple of chances that probably should have been goals to shut this game down. The one, what was it? Gusto's cross pass, like on the ground cross to Nico, that was just like a second late, so he missed it on his feet, like it wasn't in stride.
Yeah. And
so they got back and covered it. Right, that's should have been a bigger chance than what it was.
Or Enzo shooting instead of passing to Jackson.
Yes, one too.
Or Enzo taking the ball off of Jackson's toe when Jackson's getting ready to shoot.
Oh my gosh, that was the worst one.
So I don't disagree with that characterization as a Chelsea fan.
Can I just provide a little bit of context?
Please do, because I figured that's where you're going to go.
City had 31 shots.
And this was going to be my point.
Just a little bit of context. I'm not elaborating.
My point is, I think, going to go hand in hand with yours, Sean, is that I think Chelsea could feel upset, perhaps, that you didn't win the game. But to me, it seemed like for the final 40 minutes of the game, it was all one direction. And it was...
I would say the last 20 minutes.
I don't know, man. It seemed...
When Palmer came off, that's when like it flipped.
Yeah, it seemed...
But they had... Hey, just for extra context, we had more shots on target.
Okay.
How many punches did Petrovic have?
Petrovic had 3 punches as part of his 4 saves.
It's I don't think it's a great stat when you say that Petrovic had like the game of his life. Like that's not the position you want your team to be in, right?
When you're playing City, you have to be in that position. I don't know.
I don't think that's necessarily true. I don't have the stats.
Also, Haaland was very, very not on point. Which, hey, Disasi had a great game. I've been on here. I think I've called him a disaster in the group chat and or on the podcast. Like, yeah, that's disaster at center back. He had a fabulous game. Him and Colwell were legit in that middle of that defense.
Does it give you any reason to question your blind faith towards Wesley Fofana? Not to reopen old wounds.
No, I don't think so. I think Disasi becomes third choice out of like the 4 center backs.
Okay.
Or 5 if we're including Thiago.
I mean, I would not include Thiago because I feel
right. So if we're not including Thiago, then I think our starting pair, let's say for next year, right? Because that's when Fofana will be healthy. Will be Fofana and Colwell, and then backed up by Disasi and Badashile.
Well, I think okay, all right, that's fine. That's fair. I think the big news that Sean and I think we should congratulate Brad on is that Chelsea are not on 33 points anymore. They haven't been on 33 points for a while. They're at 35. So
yes,
the 33 point curse is no more this year.
Broken very early on. Yes.
Now, to be fair, I think you guys started the game in 10th, and you finished the game in 10th. But that's the meme that's been going around on Twitter that I've been seeing is Chelsea win, they're in 10th. Chelsea lose, they're in 10th. Chelsea draw, they're in 10th.
Yeah, it's just a recycled meme.
Close to 8th. I'm so like,
It's a recycled meme from United in 7th, where it was just 7th no matter what they did.
Yeah. Chelsea, what did the +1 goal difference? You're 1 goal to the good. I mean, that's encouraging. Finally have more goals than you've conceded.
We've been there for a while, but yes, we've been positive.
I'm not trying to be negative about Chelsea. I'm really not, Sean. Trying to be charitable in this situation. What's your overall feel?
We are the Brighton. We are the Preston North End right now. 10-5-10, 42-41. 10th position.
Damn, you guys have lost 10 times this year. That's wild.
No, we've drawn 5. We've drawn 10.
No, you've won 10, drawn 5,
we've lost 10. Yeah.
That's wild. That's wild.
I mean, the same amount as Newcastle, and 1 behind Manchester.
It's just a lot.
United.
I know. Yeah. I agree with you. It is a lot, but I'm putting in context that there are teams above us that are close to our losses.
Pretty close
and goal differential.
Pretty close in point total.
Yeah.
All right.
Had we won, we would have been above Newcastle. Man. So close.
So close.
Sorry.
So, yeah, you're.
It really was though. Like,
what's the aim? Like are you you're still hoping that you finish Europa League?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
I mean, 9 points is tough in 13 games we got left.
Is that what it is to Europa League, or is that to the Champions League?
To United.
I will give Brad that, because to transition to my game, where I wrote off our chances of title chances, because 10 points in 13 games is against City and Liverpool and Arsenal is pretty much insurmountable. But 10 points to Europa is probably not. You're probably going to get more backwards movement out of that group than you are out of those 3. So it's more manageable.
I mean, yeah, if we look at it, United's turned the corner, we could say, right? Maybe.
I've been saying this for a month.
I think they get exceptionally lucky, but
4 wins in a row.
They win. Oh, sorry, they get a lot of scrappy wins. Let me rephrase lucky instead of, I'll say scrappy wins. McTominay didn't exist. I don't understand.
Generational hate for Manchester United coming from Brad.
I think,
Yeah,
but the
absolutely.
generational hate coming from this podcast, sir.
That's fair. That's fair.
RCR Media has a grudge against United.
The whole media organization has a grudge
The
against
whole
Manchester
organization,
United.
all three of us, yes.
The non-existent F1 podcast and the non-existent
Yes.
Major League Baseball podcast, they all have beef with Manchester United.
Yes,
Yes,
I do.
A non-existent wrestling podcast. We could probably start one of those too.
As a founding member of the Security Council of RCR Media, I am putting my veto power on any kind of wrestling podcasts.
Anyways,
at least until the lawsuits die down.
No, ever in perpetuity.
Whoa! We're not. Don't say that word on this podcast. You guys take it down. Brighton haven't been playing well. Newcastle haven't been playing well. West Ham is on a nosedive. So like, I'm not pessimistic about our chances.
So I liked what your point that you were making though, Sean, about Tottenham, and kind of tying this in with Tottenham, is though even though it seems like the loss against Wolves, like for Tottenham, has taken them out of the title conversation per se, that battle for fourth, we were talking about this before the podcast. It seems like it's going to be kind of a tight race, but definitely between Aston Villa and Tottenham. But would we care to throw Manchester United into that mix? 5 points? Like, if we're talking about 10 points to 7th for Brad, like, or 5th.
I said a few weeks ago, I would like that gap to get bigger, but United are not allowing that gap to get bigger because they keep winning.
Yeah.
So, and they finally found a goal scorer, which is what they desperately needed. Højlund, he scored 6 straight games, I believe, 7 goals in 6 games, I think is the tally.
Sounds right. That sounds right.
Yeah, I think so.
I think I saw him on a graphic with Van Nistelrooy, Ronaldo, and Cantona as the only United players in the Premier League era to score in 6 games straight.
Wow.
That's pretty rare. That's pretty rare air right there.
Yeah.
But yeah, you got with their current run of form and the fact that we don't play them anymore, you would have to include them in it because we don't have a chance. We don't personally have a say in them having negative points.
One thing I would also just throw out there about Manchester United, I don't even know if it's necessarily Højlund starting to come good, but they've had Casemiro back for the last 4 games. And what Brad?
I don't think Casemiro would be the hype play because he only gets like 45 minutes and a yellow card every game.
But what I'm saying is that having stability in your midfield is immense. What happened to Tottenham when they lost their midfield? Like, when the spine of your team is interrupted between center backs, central midfielders, like, I think that really does impact your ability to execute like on your philosophies. And I think that we saw that a lot with Manchester United through this year, is that they had center backs injured, they had Casemiro injured, and they've been missing the spine of their team for so long, and those issues are starting to be remedied, and we're seeing a more consistent, a more potent Manchester United because of it.
Yeah, which is unfortunate.
But I mean, like, you guys have both been sleeping on United, I think, all year. I mean, like, I don't like Manchester United as much as the next commenter on Red Card Radio, but I think if we ran the tape back to the beginning of the year, I think we also could and should all agree that I was not as I don't know. I guess I was more expectant of what Manchester United could do this year than you guys were.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think even if we look at the predictions, you had them higher than we did.
Yeah, I don't have the sheets of integrity with me, so I can't fact check that. But
I don't think we bought their 3rd place finish.
Did I have them 3rd?
No, they finished 3rd last year.
Oh well, yeah.
I don't think we were. I think we were not as impressed.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's fair. Do you have any thoughts? Specific thoughts about the Wolves result, Sean, that you want to bring up? Emotions, feelings, angry outbursts.
I think having Puro available would have helped change some things. He just has a better mind for the game. Royal got caught napping on the Neto goal where he could have cut off that fast break a whole lot earlier, or at least I don't think he stops Neto, but he can delay him if he gets to him faster. which allowed him to get all the way into the 18 box and cut it back sharply. And there is some onus to be put on Basuma for not picking up the trailing midfielder, but
yeah, if Royal's able to push him further and make that cross more difficult, it makes it less straightforward.
And earlier to the ball would have helped disperse that play into something completely different than what it was. It still may have resulted in a goal. I don't know.
Of course, yeah.
But the first goal and then all of our corners just go back to the fact that we're not learning from set piece corner plays. Where Vicario is being pushed all over the place. He didn't get pushed in the Wolves game, but we left somebody completely unmarked, who's about 5'5" and shouldn't be scoring corners.
That was a weird one to concede because we just looked at that before we started, and you guys had 10 players inside your 6-yard box, and
no one on the 5'5" center midfielder.
Like he was standing right just a foot outside, maybe a yard outside of the 6-yard box. So he was just standing right there, and Son is close to him, but I don't know if obviously you guys are doing a zone system, and so but it seems to me that like Son needed to be more aggressive there and go win that ball because it was very close to him. And I would. Now that I'm talking about it, I wish I had gone back and looked at some of the corners that Tottenham were defending just throughout the game. And it would have been interesting to look to see if that was just Tottenham's setup in this match. That we're going to put 10 players in the box, make it really difficult for Wolves to body Vicario. Because like you said, Vicario had been getting bodied for the last 3 weeks. And maybe this was the remedy for it. The remedy was to overload the 6-yard box, so it makes it more difficult for the offensive team to push the keeper around, and then on top of that, like did Wolves adapt to it? Did they just not care? Because when we watched it, they didn't even try and pressure Vicario. It was just a free header. It was just a free header, like no defense applied at all. So
yeah, it's just frustrating to keep seeing poor corner defense week after week, especially now that it's in 2 different instances and 2 different strategies. That's the frustrating part. It feels like we're just getting outfoxed, out chess matched.
Is that the most frustrating goal to concede? As a fan, when you're watching
a free header,
just set piece, like especially like corners, like conceding on corners just feels
bad.
Feels so frustrating.
Yeah. Like you should be able to man mark for those 10 seconds.
But yeah, it's just like
Wolves had 38 clearances. Like I'm looking at the stats because we just came from the Chelsea game.
This guy.
I'm looking at the stats on the Premier League website. Premier League website says clearances.
Bro.
Okay. You want to know how many Chelsea had in the City game?
62.
53. Very close.
Okay, but I
and it made me laugh.
Okay, so all you're describing to me is that City and Tottenham were living in the other box.
Yes,
is what you're describing to me.
We're living on the other side of the field. Yes,
they had a full-on campfire and tent set up.
Roasting
in the attacking third.
Wolves had on the penalty spot.
Yeah.
But yet Wolves still had more shots on target, and so did Chelsea. So yes. Both teams played
you brought up the shots on target after you brought up the fact that Petrovic gave up a deflected goal, which would have been a shot on target, only it wasn't on target and got deflected. It
was on target.
So they could have had 0 shots on target, but they still would have been 1-1.
No, that shot was on target.
But it was deflected. So it was already on target and deflected.
On target. Correct, and it was deflected the other way.
Did they give Did they give the goal to Rodri, or did they say it was an honor by
it was attributed to Rodri. Yeah.
Chalobah, like that would have been so harsh on him to have come in after injury.
Right.
Like
after so long out.
Nobody wants him at the club. He is obviously like just like a dead man walking at the club, and then he gives up an own goal. Like that would
the longest serving person on the team.
So right harsh on him. Okay. What else are we looking at? I mean, Liverpool and Arsenal both get pretty straightforward away victories. Arsenal have scored 11 goals in 2 matches. That's pretty impressive. So, I mean, I'm obviously pretty hyped about that.
Just Saka stat padding. That's all.
And so I saw people complaining on Twitter about Arsenal. We I guess have the most penalties. We're tied for the most penalties awarded to us in the Premier League this year with Chelsea. I don't think we've been given a single controversial penalty. Like the penalties we've gotten have all been stone cold penalties. And maybe there's like one or two that are kind of like iffy. But like the ones that we've gotten are just like our players are getting taken out. Like, and there's like nothing that you can't argue it, right? Like the Trossard was clearly taken out by the goalkeeper in this game. And so like we just get a penalty. And you're saying Saka stat padding. Well, he also scored a goal from open play. So
I'm glad you brought up penalties, because weeks ago I was complaining about Spurs not only having one penalty awarded all year. We still only have one penalty awarded all year.
Have more touches in the box, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, league leading's not enough. League leading's not enough.
I don't think you guys are league leading anymore. I think we are. But I think it's close. You guys are certainly up there in terms of touches in the opponent's attacking third. But
hey,
he's gonna
also Derby County's record is also safe for another year. I meant to say this last week.
God, where is this coming from? Derby County, you're not my championship.
Derby County's 11 points when they were in the Premier League is the lowest points total ever.
Got it. Okay.
Sheffield United has now crossed over that 11-point barrier.
Yeah,
that record is still safe.
You want to know when they did that?
Last week.
Who did they beat to go from 10 points to 13? Who did they beat?
It was our relegation 45-pointer. That's how they made it through.
Luton Town.
It was Luton Town.
Who was the only one who predicted that game correctly? This guy. It was me. So you guys can thank me for that. Speaking of picks, a little bit of tease for tomorrow's episode. We have Brad has done the facts and figures. He has crunched the numbers. He has seen who is the most right and who is the most wrong from Red Card Radio's picks last week. So
who got lucky?
This guy. You'll have to tune in tomorrow for the reveal of who did what. He hasn't even told Sean and I yet how everyone did. So we will be just as shocked as you will to find out who did what. So with that being said, I think that's all we got for you guys in this review episode. Definitely come back tomorrow. We will have that preview episode. We'll be looking at all the matches in the Premier League coming up this weekend. Also kind of touching base on, I think there's a cup final.
There is. Something like that. I don't know. Y'all know what those are?
Yeah, Brad. We won the FA Cup a couple years ago.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I know you know what a cup final is.
Yeah. We're also fighting for the Champions League right now. As you guys are listening to this podcast at 3:00 on Wednesday, Arsenal are presently in a cup competition, Brad. So I don't.
Oh. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
But hit us up in the YouTube comments. Let us know what you guys think. Hit us up on social media. That guy up top with me, that is at KSBradG. Down below, that is Whiteheart_Sean. I am at James Tiffany, and collectively we can be reached at redcard_radio. That's on all the socials. We'd love to hear from you. And if you want to, you can join our Discord. It's in the description of this video or this podcast. And you can watch Tamzid and Sean sling mud at each other Saturday mornings. It's good fun from a third party perspective.
It is so much fun. I recommend it to everyone. Please join our Discord. You don't even have to talk. You just have to wait.
Just lurk. But until then, check back tomorrow. We will have picks for you, and we hope you guys participate as well. But until then, have a good one, and we will see you soon.